Gondwana Records podcast. Gondwana Records podcast.
Welcome back and thanks for tuning in. I am Mari from Gondwana Records and this is the second episode with these guys.
Hello,
We are
Svaneborg
Kardyb,
and you're listening to
Gondwana podcast.
Nikolai Svaneborg on Wurlitzer, Juno and piano, Jona Kardyb on drums and percussion. The multi-award-winning duo from Denmark who just released their latest album, Superkilen. I had the pleasure to visit them and sat down in Nikolai's studio in Copenhagen, which is located right next to the public park called Superkilen, which they named their album after. On the previous episode,
We played a lot together, but then when we finally met up, there was just something, easy about composing.
and it feels different from the other things we've been doing. The sparkle of something different.
they shared their very special serendipitous musical encounter with each other and how they became part of the Gondwana family. In this episode, we will focus on their wonderful new album, Superkilen. As always, we have a Q&A session at the end of the episode. Nikolai and Jona will answer questions from their fans, so stay tuned.
Gondwana Records podcast.
We are in the Svaneborg Kardyb studio in Nørrebro.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Say it again.
Nørrebro.
Nørrebro district in Copenhagen, and it's a stone's throw away from the park called Superkilen, which is also the title of your new album. I walked around this morning and it's almost like walking around in a museum or some exhibition. It's a very one-of-the-kind designed park. That was my impression. I saw a sign in different languages, really interesting lines on the street, and this park was actually made to bring people together.
Yeah, Superkilen is both like a piece of art and like a bike lane at the same time. And so people would just use it to ride their bikes from one place of the city to the other. But it has these colors that are really bright, and there's a lot of stuff going on all the time. Skating festivals or music or operas or whatever. All kinds of stuff is happening on these squares in the park. But for us, it's actually mostly interesting the way it kind of lays in the city. Like it's called a kile means like a wedge, like you would wedge through wood, for example, and the park kind of does that here in the city. So there's a lot of huge buildings, and then all of a sudden it's just bare, and there's just room for different things. And for us, we were creating a new record, and we wanted that in the record, something that was kind of wedging through, something that was kind of doing something different, or not being like aggressive, more like opening up and discovering something new. And that's why we called it Superkilen, because we like that word. My studio is right next to it. Like actually one of the walls is a wall outside. You can see that in the park.
Okay.
So it is literally next to the park.
The single track, Superkilen, almost sounds like it's a statement track for me. It's not a happy sounding track. It's more like a deep, serious track.
The Superkilen track feels the same way to us. It is kind of a statement, and it insists being there. Like, we couldn't help it. We couldn't make it softer or whatever. And so that's the wedge. It's the first song on the album. So from the beginning, we have this super wedge coming in, and the drums are kind of intense and not slowing down before the last 20 seconds, and the same with the synthesizer, and there are more effects.
And more different layers of synthesizers. I've been
Yeah.
discovering some new, like I usually use a Uno 60, Orlan Uno 60, which is like my absolute favorite synthesizer, but I wanted to try something different, so I bought something called a Lyra 8, a Lyra 8, which is like the ugliest synthesizer you can think of. It doesn't even have keys because it's not even used. It's not supposed to play notes on it. You're just meant to explode stuff and sound as crazy as possible. And then I tried to kind of tame that energy. So a lot of the pads and the textures that come in throughout the song is from that synthesizer, and also there's some rumbling, super sub rumbling noises that kind of create really crazy textures. So there's a lot of experimentation on that track, and we have never had a track where Jonas played that loud.
No, exactly.
That's crazy.
And you can't really play this track while smiling. It's not a happy track, you know. It comes from a different place, and we also think it's really important to bring these feelings into the music. That there's a big palette of you can be angry, you can be happy, you can be sad, whatever, but it's nice to try to play a tune being a bit angry, and it feels good as well in the end. When we recorded this track, it was pretty intense. I mean,
it was very intense.
Yeah, because if you make a happy track, you're happy and you're like, oh, this is very good, but if you record a track like this, you don't really know if it's good or if it's not. I mean, you just don't know because you just gave all you had. That's a track. So yeah, it's hard to explain, but yeah, I don't know if it makes sense, but it's
You just use the word angry, or you're trying to express the anger, the feeling of anger in this track.
Yeah.
I mean, were you guys frustrated about something, or what's going on in the world, or?
No,
Not
it's not that direct. I think it's more, and maybe it's not anger. I don't think it's anger, but it's some kind of intense, maybe some frustration, and everyone experience that in their life pretty often, I guess. Some people more often than others. So it's a well-known feeling. So you can actually tap into that while playing. Yeah.
Gondwana Records podcast.
The next track, Cycles, is like such a nice, almost like you guys are giving a hug.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Nice song.
We're okay.
Yeah.
After the first track.
It's okay.
Yeah. How did the music journey start for this new album? Did you guys go into the studio like, okay, let's make a new album, or was there a particular song that you created first and built around it, or how did it happen?
This time we did it differently than the other times, because we moved here. I moved here to Copenhagen, and Jonas, he moved to Præstø, south of Copenhagen, and so it was kind of impossible to use the studio in Aarhus the way we did before, and we were like, let's do something different. So we tried out going in the studio actually here, not in my little studio here, but in the studio next door, which is a bit bigger, at my friend's place, Tvillinger, and just to try out something. And then we recorded a bunch of stuff, and we had some ideas, and it went all kinds of directions. We didn't have that many ideas to bring in. It was just to kind of start something. And then the next rehearsal we wrote 10 songs, I think, like because it just started something like, oh yeah, we can. After touring so much, it was really refreshing to create new music.
Yeah, I think some of the new material or like new ideas also came from touring a lot. We play differently like every night, and some songs will develop quite a lot. during 50 concerts. So it will change from the original.
For example, Cycles is actually written in Southampton. That's where the idea came.
At the sound check.
At the sound check, yeah. Just a simple idea that I figured out that I could actually play the chords and the melody with one hand. And that was just super, super cool, I think. So many of the songs on this record is also kind of exploring that idea that I can play both chords and melody with one hand. Kind of a bit boring maybe, but it's super exciting for me because it's a math problem. Like how can we take this strategic idea and make it into music? I think that's a really fun and cool starting place. Yeah.
And also playing a lot of shows, sometimes you need that really loud song in the set list. And we don't really have that. So we had to find some of the other songs and make it that way. Like so on this new album, I also think we wanted to try that out, playing really fast and intense, or like a bit louder, or some new synthesizer sounds that maybe sounds a bit more crazy, or that everything doesn't have to be nice, you know. And that's again where the Superkilen comes in. Allow that to happen.
And then at the same time, we also have some songs on the record that are more quiet than we usually do, because we wanted to have. We really enjoy the intimate sections of our shows, so it was fun to write something that would be even more quiet, so we could go there.
Yeah, and also after playing some, I don't know, wilder stuff, we also really want to play the opposite.
Right, create the dynamic.
Yeah, so the dynamics expanded on this new album.
Yeah.
It sounds like touring has been very inspiring and influencing your songwriting.
Absolutely.
Every time we get in touch with you, you guys are like driving and touring. So you guys are doing a lot of gigs. That has been really stimulating for you in terms of making music.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very important for us to go out and play. It's like the spine of the project. Like we need to play. And if we have a break for too long, then we get sad. So it's this summer has actually been the first break we've had since we started. That was
and the longest break,
period.
Not really, only playing like 4 shows during the summer.
Yeah, we only played 41 shows this year.
And
that's or we will when the year is done. We've only played 41, so this is a really quiet year.
So what was it like before? If 41 is quiet, what is normal?
70,
80.
Wow. Okay.
A year. And then it's all around the world. So so there's a lot of traveling, but it's just meeting people from everywhere. And we have this song where they have to whistle loud in the end, and everybody can do that. So it's just amazing to share the music with so many different people all over. It's actually insane. It's a real privilege. Yeah.
You once explained your process, composing in the moment. Could you explain more about what composing moment for you guys and how it worked out for this album?
It's something that we are really keen on taking care of, because you can so quickly get into like. In the studio you can change things and you can like edit the soul out of it sometimes. And so it's about being aware of what is happening and just like not think about the result, because that's not interesting. the interesting thing is what is right here, right now. How does this sound? How does Nikolai react to this? And we found like a way, and that is when you sit down by your instrument, then the first thing you play is something important, or could be something important. So also when we record, we improvise stuff in the studio, and it's really we agree, we talk about it, and then we're like, okay, let's press record, and we go into the room, we sit down, and then we play a song. I mean, it's not just because so often you can be like, chick, 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 I need to check this, and blah, 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 is this working, blah, blah, blah. It's really a way, also just by your own, at your own place. If you go into the rehearsal room, I will really encourage everybody to try and sit down by their instrument and then really try to play. Just try to compose. See what happens. Maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, it doesn't matter. But the most important thing is that you are aware. And
we've done it a few times. I won't say which ones, but there are a few tracks on our records that is created by pressing record, and then we play that song, and then we stop the recording. And we never played it before, and now that's a song. So it's like, if you press record, then the first note you hit, if you hit it for a piano perspective, if you hit something with your left hand, then that is the bass of the track. Like that will be the bass line. If it's one note, two notes, three notes, who cares? Just something. And then you will create a melody for that bass line, and the thing you play is the melody. Like you're not trying, you are playing it. And then you would have to remember what you just played, so you can do it again in the next verse or whatever you want to do. So it's kind of it's a really good exercise. If you play a too difficult melody, you won't be able to remember it. Maybe you won't be able to play it, but you have to be able to play it. So you have to simplify what you're doing, and then magic comes out of it. Like so it's been really fun. That's what we did a lot in the first time of our playing together. But it's the key of every concert we play, and we know what song we're going to play, but how it's going to happen today, we don't know. And we know it only when we hear each other play what's going on. And
we want to bring that to the studio as well, and also to the rehearsals. And maybe sometimes it's not a perfect thing you compose, but maybe there were 5 seconds that you can make it something new out of. So it's a good way to make music without thinking too much,
or having it written down too much. Like if you just have the core ideas, and then you can figure out the structure as you go. Where does it want to go? Like you don't have to go somewhere that is predetermined. You can just go where the song wants to take you. So sometimes it will be 2 minutes long, sometimes it will be 7 minutes long. But you can predetermine that beforehand, but it's really interesting to do it while you play it. What's then going to happen? I can hear that in our music anyway, that we are trying to make those decisions while we play. Like it's confidence in we're gonna figure it out. And that's strong. Like that's a strong musical aspect.
And for instance, the Superkilen track, we played that, I don't know, 8 times, 10 times in the studio. We had this idea that we wanted it should sound like this, but then we ended up using the first one anyway. We had 3 versions that we liked. Some weeks later we were just, the first one is the one. And there's a lot of mistakes and a lot of things that I didn't want to do or whatever. But there are something there.
There's also a track on the record called Udsigten, which is where Milo is also featured. But he he recorded that bass line later on, actually, but he plays so well that it sounds like he's in the room. So that's a bit of magic there. But that was also, I think we had 5 takes. And the first take, it was one song. And the second take, it was a total different song. And the third take transformed itself into something completely different. And then the fourth take, we figured out a C part while playing there. And then the fifth take, Jonas, he was like, I'm gonna try whiskers instead.
I'll do something completely else.
Yeah.
And then that was the
that
one
was
we...
just
Yeah.
perfect. That's how the song was supposed to be. But it was created through recording it.
Right.
Not predetermining it. I'm really proud of that one. I think it's really beautiful.
You just mentioned Milo, that he joined this recording, this song. How did you guys make this decision to invite him?
We are huge fans of Vega Trails. Super. I'm really a huge fan of Vega Trails. So, and we've met him a few times through the Gondwana family, and it's always been really nice to hang out. And this time we had these 2 tracks where we were like, it could be really fun to add something we've never tried before. And
The bass.
The bass. Yeah. So, and then he said, so he lives in Spain, so we sent the track to him, and then he recorded something. And on the cycles, he the first thing he sent was all over the place. Obviously, there was so much space. So we asked him, hey, try to tone it down. Try to do half as much. And then he was like, oh. I remember the WhatsApp text like, hey, I see. And it was very short. And then he just sent that take.
Yeah. And then on Udsigten, he also just sent that one take.
That's one take, yeah.
He just nailed it.
Yeah.
And he has such a nice tone.
And such a strong sense of melody. Even though he's the bass player, then with the space we have in the music, then there is room for melodies too. And he's really good, really, really good at that. Yeah. There's also a violin on Cycles track from Maria Yacht, who plays really, really beautiful violin. Yeah, so it was fun to have 2 string instruments added there.
Do you think you're gonna bring that sort of collaboration elements into the live performance, so it's more like for recording process?
More for recording. Maybe there could be occasions where we could invite these people on stage. Then we are happy to do it. But let's see if we can play it ourselves.
Yeah.
Gondwana Records podcast.
What was your inspiration while making records musically? What kind of music were you listening to? Was there particular albums or artists that you were listening, or
I listened to Jim White. I kind of rediscovered him. The Dirty Three, the band, and he also has a duo. He's a drummer, New York, I think, from New York. He also has a duo with Marisa Anderson on guitar, and it's a bit really loose. Really, they just play. That's how it feels, and it can sound ugly and weird, and it doesn't matter. There's some freedom there. And they just express themselves. And he also recently made a solo record, just drums.
Just drums, yeah.
Which is so cool. And there's so much music in there. It's not about the drums, really. So that really resonated with me, trying to play more freely. Just hit that thing and hit that thing. Kind of the opposite of this really minimalistic way of playing, but just do stuff. Don't don't care too much if it's too loud or whatever. So there are some good albums there. And then also Joan as Policewoman released an album with Tony Allen on drums and a really cool bass player. So more like an Afrobeat thing to her universe. The Solution is Restless. That's what the album is called. And I listened to that over and over again. It's so good. And yeah.
When I was listening to the album, I did notice your drum solo ending on the Vakler. Was that moment come from some of the influence from the drummer Jim White?
Yes, I think so. Maybe not direct inspiration, but like, again, just do it. Just play.
Yeah.
Don't think too much.
Yeah.
Don't think at all, and don't care. I mean, that feeling is just so nice to express in our music as well. Like, and there's room for this. We can do it. And then the next track is called Balancen, or the balance, which brings back the balance.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's just it's a good way to try to just go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, do something completely else. Play a drum solo in a Svaneborg Kardyb track is really something.
Yeah.
So, and then comes the balance. So it's been a fun way to allow ourselves to do that.
How about you, Nikolai? Were you listening to something particular?
Yeah, like now Jonas is mentioning a drummer, and I've of been listening to a lot of piano players. Duval Timothy, who I can't remember the name of it now. Meet You by the Joshua Tree, I think it's called, and it's super gorgeous, and it's really large sounding, and the way he uses piano is just actually a little bit of the same as you just say here, like where he's just playing. It's just chords, but he's just it's just a living room piano sound in a way. So it doesn't sound that well tuned maybe, and like it's just but then he brings in a lot of different elements, and it's super sharp and short and well executed. I really love that record. And then I heard a lot of the Vernon Spring's latest record too, which is a muted piano sound, but he plays jazz on it, and it sounds his playing is just absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So I think those are my two for this record. I think those are my two biggest inspirations for that time. there's kind of a theme about time, or like generations, change of generations. It's subtle, but I think it's really nice. The tune is called Tide, which is about it's about time, and Tvillinger means twins, because one of my good friends, he got twins, and I composed this piano piece at their house, again by being in the moment, and the twins stopped their sounds. They were just very, very boisterous and very, very moving all over the place, and then I played on his piano, and then they stopped. And then I did kept playing with one hand, and then took out my phone with the other hand, and then pressed record, and then played the tune. So that's where that comes from. And then Cycles is also themed about that, both the smaller and the bigger cycles of life, and so there's kind of a theme going on there that we like.
Yeah, and there are so many Superkilen, so many wedges in life. I mean, you can't just, it's not just one line, so there will always be some obstacles or whatever, and these can be very good as well, because you get a new perspective.
How would you describe the Scandinavian sound? What makes it distinctive, and what elements of Scandinavia inspire this kind of sound? Would it be a landscape, nature, the psyche, the mindset of people? How would you describe this?
Yeah, okay. So in Denmark, we don't have any mountains. Like, we have a hill called a mountain, but it's not a mountain. So we can't really claim that it's the big nature landscape that makes the Danish Scandinavian sound at all. We don't have any mountains. So I would say that it's a community thing. Like, it's about creating music that a lot of people can join in on instantaneously. So that makes it simple. And then, like, we have this beautiful folk tradition. As Jonas mentioned, the Højskole Sangbog is really a big part of that in our tradition. So, yeah,
it's simple and it's warm, and it's often again about nature. I think in Norway it's the mountains, and
in Denmark it's the forests and the lakes.
Yeah, Sweden also have even bigger forests and lakes, and there's some loneliness in there.
Yeah.
Or like, maybe not loneliness.
Melancholy.
There's some, yeah. But it's okay. Yeah.
We're having it together in a way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We have this state of mind where it's okay to be a bit melancholic, or things can be a bit slow sometimes.
And we have time. We have a room to reflect on the bigger things. Yeah. Throughout the songs, they can be very, very, very poetic, but they can also be very simple, and then just talk about what we are learning through life.
But it also feels like all this is a bit under pressure these years.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
everything is going so fast. So I also think that's why so many people need this kind of music and really relax when they listen to this kind of music, because you can be in that space.
Gondwana Records podcast.
We're gonna move on to Q&A session, our favorite part of the podcast.
Woo. Yeah.
The first question comes from Morten Polsbolg. Is Nikolai ever going to sing on a recording session?
Ooh. I don't think so, actually. Maybe. I don't know.
I hope so.
It could be fun.
You have a nice voice, Nikolai.
It could be real. I know this is Morten Polsbolg. This is my own. He's my old sing teacher.
Oh,
Yeah.
very good question.
Very good question.
Yeah. The next question comes from Yoshi website.
Huh.
Do you know them?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
our old sound engineer.
Okay. Favorite small bro topping?
Ooh.
Favorite
And-
what?
Smørrebrød topping.
Ooh.
Yeah. And if small bro was the next album, what's on it? Okay.
Yeah, so smørrebrød is our I don't know, national dish. Should be is this open sandwich.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, let's
What?
start with your favorite topping.
Yeah, potato, mayo. What is purløg?
Ooh. Like spring onion.
Yes.
Kind of like a thin leek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And tomatoes. And then if it should be, you could put some slices of mozzarella.
Ooh.
If you should be a bit modern.
Ooh.
Okay.
Don't know if it's allowed.
And roasted onion too. could be
Roast.
really
Ooh,
good.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good one.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, me too. Wow.
But the potato one for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can smell the summer
Yeah.
vibe when you say it. Because it has to be from the garden. Like, I also grew up on the countryside, so my parents have their own potatoes, and when the new potatoes come up and you boil them, put them and you let them cold, and then you put them on the rye bread. That's really good. That's super good.
Okay, then how about Superkilen small bro? What's the topping?
On the
Ah,
if
on
the new album was a smørrebrød.
Yes.
Ooh. Something with the beetroot.
Oh yeah, I also
Right?
think beetroot and maybe some goat cheese.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's the way.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the album cover is pink, so that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Goat cheese and beetroot.
You should do some like
Maybe some honey and some.
on the tour you should sell it.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
in a merch stand.
Yeah. The next question comes from Michelle Neighbor. If you could add any musician to your band, dead or alive, who would you choose?
Oh.
It could be fun to play with Donny Hathaway, like just playing
Yeah.
some groove, and he could sing.
Yeah.
That
And
would be
then-
nice.
Then he could also take the Wurlitzer, then I could just listen.
Yeah. You could play on the Wurlitzer at the same
both.
time.
Yeah, actually, yeah. He's the greatest Wurlitzer
Yeah.
player of all time. Absolutely.
I don't know. Who else?
It's actually a good question. Because I can mostly think of piano players, but I wouldn't include any piano players in our band.
No, I wouldn't include any drummers as well.
It's also a difficult question because we are only 2 in the band. So if you add another,
it's something completely
it's
else.
something completely different.
Yeah.
It changes so much. That's also why we do it as we try to be as deliberate as possible when we do it, when we add on people to the project or to the music, because it really changes so much.
But I mean, playing with Joni Mitchell could be
that's cool.
that would be something.
No
as
way.
well.
That would
Yeah.
That's it. If we could. Wow, my heart just melted. That would be amazing. That would actually be really good.
Yeah.
Because having a singer-songwriter and then the best in the world.
Yeah.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
Okay, make it happen.
Let's try.
And everyone wants you guys to come and play at their city. Amical Hansen France said Rome for concert. Have you guys played that in Rome?
No, we haven't played in Italy.
But it's
Yet.
on the list. Yeah.
It's About Sang said we would love to see you in US. America?
Mm-hmm.
We played in Canada. But that's not America, I know. But that's the closest we've been.
And David in Transit, will you ever go to Glasgow?
Absolutely. On the working list.
Yeah, it's a long working list.
It's a long working list.
Okay. Jorge Libiero Musica says concert in Porto, Portugal?
Also on the working list, actually.
Yeah, that was actually close to be happening last year, but I don't know.
Yeah, something happened. So it will happen.
Okay. Liz PB, love your music, greeting from Madrid.
Nice. Yeah, it's just so special that people from all over the place listen.
Yeah, and reach out.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah.
The next question comes from Tom Falk. What kind of crowds do you like more? Venues like Elbphilharmonie or smaller ones?
We enjoy both. We enjoy the difference. Some of the best shows we've played, where it's been the most fun for us, has been really intimate, small spaces. But then again, equally amazing has been big shows, because we change the way we play every time. We adapt a lot to where we are and what situation we're in and how the audience moves or how they respond, and it's very different in a big room from a small room. Yeah, so it's just really fun to adapt, to do the change, and
the energy can be so different.
Yeah.
That's a good example, because we played in Budapest in House of Music, new build concert hall, really beautiful, really nice. Everything was just perfect. And then we took the train to Vienna, playing at Chelsea, like under the train rails, like a club underneath with graffiti all over and not the best backline and all that stuff. But the energy in the crowd was just so crazy that, it felt like a rock concert, which it was not, of course, but it's just...
And during the drum solo, the train came over.
We played along with the train.
So we played along with the train.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And everything was shaking in there.
Yeah.
But it was such a nice experience.
Yeah.
So,
so both shows were equally awesome, but really different. And that's one of the privileges by playing this much and all over the places we get to experience so many different and fantastic experiences.
When I talk about Svaneborg Kardyb, and if they've seen you play, everyone is in love. Like, you guys play and the audience just like fall in love with you guys. What is live performance to you guys? What does it mean to you?
Yeah, it is meeting people and sharing our music, and the audience share their time like with us. So it's really it's special to be together with sometimes a lot of people in a room, sometimes not that many people in the room, but every time there's just very special.
Yeah, it's there's this one instance that I like to use as an answer. Like we played in Oslo last year, when when the show was finished or before the encore, then people were like singing the tune that we hadn't played yet.
Oh.
And people were like joining in on it. So I started crying backstage, or like because it was just like when you sit in a rehearsal room, or you sit in your thoughts and in your personal life and create something that is good for you and that reflects what you feel. When it resonates with people and they show you back, then it doesn't get any bigger than that for me. So we went back in and then we played the song, and that was just such a wow. I understand like rock singers and or like rock bands, how they must feel, but like we're not a rock band, or we're not that rock and roll, but it was just such an emotional experience, and that has happened so many times in different ways. This was just the rock and roll edition of it, or you play a solo and people will shout at you, or like also just we love selling vinyls after the show, or being in the merch stand just to look people in the eye and say thank you for coming.
And everyone has their own story of how they found the music, and just like I remember when I totally remember the day and the time where I heard the first Tom Waits song or whatever, and so that to know that other people have these experiences with our music is so special. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And more tour days coming up. So enjoy sharing the music live with your audience. And thanks so much for having me and sharing the story.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks so much.
Gondwana Records podcast.
I hope you enjoyed the episodes with Svaneborg Kardyb. You can also listen back other episodes with Jasmine Myra, Keelan Rose, Hania Rani, and Matthew Halsall. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening and your warm support.